18. I'm not sure
It's
where
a
we're
teen.
at. It's a teen. It's a attitudinal, ignorant, smart-assed, unappreciative teen.
Probably the one.
It's the Hard to Name
money out of
podcast.
your purse when you're sleeping.
Yeah. Adam, welcome, by the way. The Halloween season is upon us, my friend. This is our, tacular.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome you. Because nobody ever welcomes you, and I don't want you to feel like that. I get welcomed.
I really appreciate that. Hey, tip of the hat.
I'm sorry it's taken 16 episodes for me to realize that no one ever welcomes you to the show, but welcome,
or
Travis.
like 32 intros in a night.
All 32. That's where it dawned on me actually on the 31st intro that I'd never say welcome to you. So, welcome.
Bonus speeches.
And
thank you, Adam.
Maybe also welcome Tannen.
He's back, guys, from last week. Tannen, welcome back to the show, man. What's going on with you? What have you been playing? How is this Halloween season treating you?
Halloween season is treating me quite well. Pretty happy with the Halloween specials that I've run into, including Hulu on Halloween. You should check it out. There's a lot of Halloween specials going on straight in a row.
Is it like
what I've been playing,
candy?
However... Huh?
Discount on candy?
Oh, yeah. There's also what I've been playing this week, though. I actually did rent on premiere day Battlefield 1. I actually got to sit down and play that. Oddly enough, though, I have not dipped into the multiplayer at all. The single player is what enthralled me, and I have to say, even on a single player campaign, it is probably one of the best shooters I have ever played in my entire life. Captures the time period really well. The animations, the stories are definitely very enthralling.
That's a bold statement.
It's World War I, so a lot of people are dying. It starts out too. It's like you're not expected to survive, and like the intro of it is you are constantly dying, running into battle, and I don't know if you know much about World War I, but it really definitely captures.
What are you trying to say?
What do you mean?
What are you trying to say? I've never read a book.
No,
Travis
but I'm
reads,
just saying,
bro.
See, Adam took the time to welcome me, and you're here saying I'm fucking illiterate. I don't know anything about history.
He's like, I got this bumpkin.
Wow.
I got Travis the bumpkin who don't even know what World War I is.
I was not
I got
questioning
this hillbilly in his basement.
your intellect.
He ain't never played a historical game before. I bet you he doesn't even know what war was in 1916.
Anyway, the game definitely begins on a great scale of, as you're reading it for the story, it explains how many people died during that war, and does say that you're not expected to survive.
Historian? How many fucking people died?
Fine, I'll just say a shitload, and that's going to be my answer.
I thought you had statistics. You played those historical games in your refined society.
I missed that class. I must have missed that class in high school where the teacher looks at us and says, a shitload of people were killed. I didn't know that was the official number.
Yeah. I mean, dude, seriously, my modern American and modern European history teacher told me that. Both of them.
Kids today, they always take like videos like on their phone of teachers in class like cussing. My teachers cussed all the time, and it wasn't a big deal back in the day.
I
don't know.
No, it really wasn't.
But Battlefield 1, from everyone I've heard that's played Battlefield 1, they've said it's great. I'm not invested in the series at all. I've never really dove into it. I think I played 4.
Probably just because your undeveloped mind can't handle
probably
things like that.
Honestly, nor am I when it comes to the Battlefield series. I have not really played many Battlefield games, I can admit that. But this game, though, really is just, for lack of a better word, great.
I may have to honestly check it out. I've been hearing nothing but everyone praising it, saying it is one of the best. And it's just always, I feel it's a bold statement, but it's interesting for people to, at this point, all the shooters that I know you've played, because I know your gaming taste and stuff, that's a hell of a statement, So I'm definitely going to check it out, I think.
And you definitely should. But as I said, I haven't even played multiplayer yet. I'm still in the storyline. I've played it to the point where I'm at Lawrence of Arabia, which is the last part of the campaign. And everything else drawing up to that, because it really is just a training for you to play multiplayer, is what the campaign is. Which is why I want to go out and now buy the game, because I'm like, well, I played the campaign, now I can play multiplayer. But just a lot of the mechanics in it, the tank mechanics, but especially the flying. There is a whole storyline dedicated to the flying and the aviation, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the way it was handled. The controls are genuinely easy, and you really get just enthralled in general, though, with the character stories. You keep wanting to play because you want to know what's going on. They did the cinematics really well, and I really am enthralled with the story of Battlefield 1.
Adam,
and then
is this up your alley? Do you think you're going to pick this up?
No, probably not. I'm not a big Battlefield fan, and I don't understand World War One.
But this is different. Yeah, exactly. This is different. It was a different kind of war, and that's what makes it very kind of eclectic when it comes to a shooter. I feel like but as I said though, I haven't played multiplayer, so I might buy the game and be like, damn, this multiplayer sucked, and now all I'm stuck with is replaying the story. But
you know what well, two things. First of all, as World War One was horrible. It was a lot of trenches and a lot of mustard gas. There wasn't a whole lot of like run around, hop in a plane, and
a lot of mud.
Murder people.
No, and that's exactly, they didn't capture it like that though, and that's my point. Like, dude, if you're on the ground, hey, welcome to trench warfare. If you do get a plane and you're part of the aviation team, welcome to the air, and it's still fucking terrible. You could be flying along, and the guy that's helping you be your gunner in the back. He's gonna get shot, but guess what? You're on your own then, pal. Like, you gotta like kind of look at it like that. They did bring, as far as the weaponry goes, they definitely researched it. But as far as tactics went too, and this is just strictly talking storyline, but they kept to that. The second chapter is really dedicated to the British tank front, which there's a lot of interesting stories about them, and the way that they had to go about it. Though, I mean,
there is no way they kept the tanks historically accurate in that game. It would not be fun.
Dude, if you drive into the mud and you get stuck, guess what? That's it.
I'm gonna have
those tanks had like horrible mobility. The World War One tanks.
They did.
World War One tanks were not.
But some of them survived, and then you had the mini tanks, which I was kind of happy that they brought those into the storyline. The Ottoman Empire actually had these mini tanks that they used, and the color schemes on them, like, that's what got me too. They even like got it down to what the color schemes were, and maybe it's the little details that I'm just like, holy shit, that's actually accurate.
Well, I think the main question though is Captain America in the game. Is he DLC? What's up with that?
Where is Captain America in this game?
And like, if I was around you guys right now, I'd just smack you both, and then we'd go on talking.
Serious, they should make a mod where you run around as Captain America
and just punch Hitler in the face in World War One. Because it took place right after the Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Like Abraham Lincoln,
2 weeks after Vietnam, actually, I heard.
Abraham Lincoln was like, we got to get the Vietnamese, and Hitler.
I'm definitely going to check out Battlefield 1.
Hitler's hiding in Korea. Get him.
Hey.
Get him, boys.
If I do end up getting it, Tannen, if I do end up getting it, I'll see you on the battlefield. You see what I did there?
I saw that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll listen to Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield, wearing a tuxedo t-shirt, and we'll get the shit on. So, Adam, what do you think?
I will say... Okay, never mind.
Go ahead. Sorry, Tannen. Go finish.
I will say this, dude. If they made this game, and if they take with the ideas that they did with this one and put it in a Star Wars like Battlefield, oh my gosh, boy, like that would actually work. Like, hey, I can run up and get in a vehicle. Hey, I can do this. Hey, intergalactic warfare. But
Battlefront is That's another time. Adam, what have you been playing this week, man?
It's been a busy week. I've been playing a lot of stuff. I wrapped up Bioshock 1 and 2. I picked up the Uncharted collection for $15 out of GameStop. So
Nice.
if you got $15, Travis, you need to get your ass to GameStop because it's like $5 a piece, man. And these games are masterpieces. The upped res on just the first one is fucking awesome. They added green to like everything, which is cool because you play in like a tropical island. So Uncharted looks really, really good on the remastered collection.
I know I've seen Tannen playing that before.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I know. Adam and I actually kind of talked about it privately this week. It is excellent. A lot of people ask me like, well, wouldn't you already beat the Uncharted trilogy on PS3? And I'm just like, yeah. And this makes it even more awesome.
I'm starting to. I've platinumed a lot of games this year, and a lot of them have been games that I've already played. This seems to be a very big year for remasters. Sony has somehow managed to repeatedly sell me the same game over and over again, and I keep playing it. So between the Bioshock collection and the Uncharted collection, right there, that's 6. I've played Grand Theft Auto 3 this year. I played Resident Evil 5 this year. It's been I played Metal Slug. What else have I played that is a remaster? Diablo 3. I played that this year.
Last of Us.
Yeah, but that one I actually hadn't played before. So the Last of Us remaster was okay. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 2. I did that twice now.
Until Dawn.
Well, Until Dawn, that's not a remaster. That's just a.
Hey Adam, as far as Uncharted, the Uncharted remaster goes, though, what was your favorite out of those 3 that they
Two. Absolutely.
rehashed?
2. There's not even a question.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 is I would say 2 or 4 is the best Uncharted game. 2 took so much. It took everything that the first one did right, and then was like, hey, want to see this thing like hyped up? Here's a fucking train level, and here's a dynamic train level where the train's moving in very strange ways, and you have to climb it, and
What made it about 3 then, though, that made it drop off in your eyes?
Just because they didn't do enough new things. And I thought the story wasn't quite as good as it was with 2. Because it was kind of like hey, this is the end, but it didn't really feel like it should have ended there. And then, of course, it didn't.
But the third one was the first time that you got to go back and be Drake in his, like, teenage years, you know, as this, like, kind of pissed off orphan kid.
Yeah, the interactions with, like, him and
Sully.
That is always one of the strongest points. I feel like Amy Hennig is a terrific writer. So every character in those games feels real. Even like that's what I was so surprised with, because I played Uncharted 4 this year, and that's 10 out of 10, I would say easily.
Yeah, no, that game was excellent.
And the writing is just phenomenal for that game, and all the characters. Even though I was like, they're gonna try to squeeze in a brother, like that's not gonna work, and yet it just proved me wrong. Everywhere that I thought this probably isn't gonna work, it worked. But the coolest thing is when you go back and you play Uncharted 1, even after like playing the 4th one, Drake still feels like a real character immediately. Like he doesn't feel like, oh well, this is action dude who likes to look for treasure. You know what I mean? Like he feels right off the bat like this is a real character. Sully is a real character. Elena is a real character. Like these people all have their own motivations and they all have real emotions. And none of it felt like shoehorned in, so that you could have either for the first time playing Uncharted, or if you go back and play it again, you can kind of see that these characters existed before the game actually takes place. Whereas I think what you tend to see a lot of times when the start of a franchise and a game picks up, you'll see a character who, for some reason, needs to explain their entire backstory in the first half of the game. And
the classic JRPG effect.
Yeah, like why are you talking about everything that's like, but kind of just like picking up with it and just allowing that character to have existed and to have experiences that you as the player don't necessarily know about immediately, I think makes the characters feel more real. And like you said, it's not until the third game where you actually go back and you see some of Drake's past, and even that is just a small fragment of Drake's past. But you know when you play the first game that these characters are already have relationships and with each other, like Drake and Sully. And they don't feel forced, and they don't feel like they have to beat you over the head with it. There's no point where Sully was like, "Yeah, kid, I'm glad I took you in when you were an orphan, and we've been together for 20 years now." You know, there's no cheesy spins like that, so everything feels really
it
well.
kind of always parallels the movie franchise. It came in like Indiana Jones did, where you didn't need to know the backstory. It's just seeing
exactly.
Radiant for the first time. Now the Young Indiana Jones TV series was released after, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to good writing. If you can make people care about a character without needing to feed them their origin story right off the bat, that's really good. But yeah, Uncharted still holds up really well. So I've been playing that. Just a handful of miscellaneous retro stuff this week. And yesterday, the coolest thing, and I haven't got to tell either one of you guys, is I got to sit down with the little one and let her play Ocarina of Time for the first time. Just let her have at it, which is neat. However, the Nintendo 64 controls that's that weird, here we're at the cusp of 3D and we're not really sure how to control the camera. So a lot of Z targeting is needed.
It's that weird transitional phase in gaming.
But as her first and I'm not you have to do this, you have to do that. I just kind of watch what she does, and she does really silly things. She just hangs out with the kids in Corkery Forest, just in their house. And she's like, "These are my brothers. I'm just gonna hang out with these guys." And I'm like, "Well, the Deku tree is sick, and he could use your help." And she's
That's hilarious though, because mine was 3 when she played Ocarina for the first time, and she would do the same exact thing. She would just hang out in the forest and talk to the kids and run through the pond.
Yeah, she Lily kept going swimming.
Your first time experiencing that game, though. I mean, did you not at least take a little bit of time to do that? You talked to every kid.
That's what you do.
You still went around. I mean,
to an extent, but she's not. She's making up her own stories about the kids. She's not even talking to them. She's just this is where I live, and this next door is where my sister lives, and she'll talk to them, but ultimately she just kind of ignores what they're saying and just makes up her own story for what they're doing and what their motivation is.
Here's my motto: I'm gonna make my own story. I don't need your stinking storyline.
Which is, I mean,
I'm in a fucking fairyland and I'm gonna enjoy it.
It's
this
cool.
This is how the tale is told.
I don't know. For me, when I played Ocarina of Time, I was already older when that game was released. So I was like, okay, Fairy wants me to go see the tree. I'm gonna, I guess, talk to everybody. I'm gonna find the sword and the shield or whatever, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do the tree and see what needs to happen there, and then I'm gonna go on to the next, marker. But for me, actually, the one game that single-handedly got me playing video games as a child was the original Legend of Zelda for the NES, and that game is the perfect game for let's sit around and just see what happens. What happens when I walk all the way to the left? What happens when I go all the way to the right? I've got no real objective. And I think that's the beauty of Zelda. And somewhere along the lines in the Zelda franchise, that's been kind of completely lost.
Is that the most cryptic Zelda, though?
Oh, absolutely. But that was what made that game good. And that, I think, is one of the main reasons that I love Skyrim so much, or Oblivion as much as I do, because that is here you go, have fun, go see what you can figure out and what you can do, and just do whatever you want at your own pace. And I think that...
And to make it non-linear.
Yeah, when you have a game that does that and allows, in a fantasy setting like that. Skyrim, I feel like, is the evolutionary step that Zelda should have taken. That should have been the next logical step for Zelda. And instead, it was like, man, Ocarina was good. We got to keep making games kind of like Ocarina. I mean, nobody really liked Wind Waker. And that's what's kind of exciting about this Breath of the Wild, is because it does look to be a more like Skyrim. From what I understand, you can just run straight to the boss.
Well, that was supposed to be originally when they were doing the tentative title for Twilight Princess. They were actually calling it Legend of Zelda, and I expected it to be like that, where you could just get lost in this world. You could go into any dungeon, and if you walked into there, like, there wasn't any kind of lock on it, but if you walked into there and you didn't have the right weaponry at that time or the right object, you'd just be screwed, and you realize, I gotta go look somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, the only indication that you were out of order in the original was that it would be like Dungeon 7, and that was all that it told you. You know, you could try to, like, fight your way into there as much as you wanted.
There's goddamn centaurs everywhere, whatever the fuck they were.
Yeah.
Oh my god, those things are maybe my least favorite enemy in video games. I fucking hate this thing.
Yeah, we got the spark shot, bitch. Guess what's going to happen to you? But, like, you know, as far as that went, like, whenever they had originally called Twilight Princess just The Legend of Zelda, that got me so excited because I thought, holy shit, I can actually fully explore the world. You know, I can go out of order, not get very far out of order, but at least do it if I choose to. And you know, do it that way. You know, I think in the original Zelda, the only two dungeons that you couldn't get into is if you didn't have the flute, because you had to get the tornado to take you there, and the raft. You had to get to that one via the raft. All the other ones you could seriously just walk into, and that would be that. Hey, welcome to this hellhole, and you're not prepared for it. You're about to get fucked.
Which dungeon was the swastika? 4?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
It was 4 or 2. I think it was 4.
One of them. It's funny that you mentioned new discoveries this week. My 6-year-old has played Skyrim for the first time this week, so totally upscaled other side of the spectrum, I guess. As far as like my family, my kids love the sandbox games more than any other genre. That's always what they want to play, no matter if it's like Saints Row, GTA. They just love exploring, man. I think it's a great thing. I think kids to make up their own storylines and games, it's awesome, you know?
Yeah, and I think that transcends more than just children. That one of my favorite things to do in Skyrim is just go around and steal stuff. Like,
right.
There's no objective, no quest marker, but I like breaking into people's houses and stealing their things because.
Yeah.
No, that was like Fallout 3 with me. Like, I just liked scavenging and stealing when I played that game, even if it gave me a red bad karma.
I was about to say the bad karma pretty much stopped me from doing that in Skyrim or in Fallout.
Oh no! Even if I did it, I was like, well, just stole that guy's shit. Sorry, I'm good at taking lots. I mean,
that guy didn't need it.
You know, like, yeah. Obviously he didn't. It's just sitting there in a box. He seems to be doing fucking well. Fuck that guy.
Assassin's Creed, I found myself picking pockets more than anything else in the game.
So obviously the three of us like stealing shit.
It's what it is. Or if you're into that, I mean, No Man's Sky, the whole game is just a big scavenge. So there you go.
Or you could also flip it and say the whole game is just them stealing from you with false promises. Yeah,
$60. We were even talking privately the other day, you and I, Adam, and I can't remember who it was that you handed the GTA 3 controller to.
Yeah, it was Lily, and she immediately started assaulting police officers and killing them. And she could have done literally anything else in the game. She could have taken a car. She could have just walked up the street. Instead, she just immediately flipped to the guns and started.
Mine all like to hit women with baseball bats. The girls and the boys in mine. Both of them. I don't know what it is.
Well, also, and speaking of kids games, I also finished up Lego Dimensions. I got the platinum on that. So I put away a lot of platinums in the last 2 weeks.
A lot of up and down still, switching the Lego pieces for you there.
So my final thoughts on this Lego Dimensions thing. This will be the last time I talk about it. It's such an interesting concept. It's also very monotonous to switch the pieces around on the thing. But it's an interesting mechanic, but it's to the point where it's kind of frustrating that I have to constantly keep the thing next to me to switch characters around. There's a lot of things in that game that are done kind of good. I mean, there's some regular this is a Lego level, you know what to do, you've played Lego games. But there's also a Midway arcade story level where you bounce around through separate arcade games and you end up playing Gauntlet with Lego characters,
that's awesome.
which is really cool. That was one of my favorite moments of the game. And then the portal level is also super duper interesting because of GLaDOS, who is one of the best villains of all time, I think. And actually, I don't know if you've played Portal 1 or Portal 2, but if you do and you beat the game, you're rewarded with a GLaDOS song as the credits roll. And Lego Dimensions is no different. When you beat the game, you get a GLaDOS song, which is really, really cool.
That's funny.
It is also the most expensive game I think I've ever bought. I cannot think of a game that I put more money into, which is sad. It's really sad.
That's pretty sad.
Have you bought every set?
No,
Like the Ghostbusters set?
No, I bought the Scooby-Doo set because Scooby-Doo's fucking awesome. I picked up a couple of the Lego movie characters, and
Tell me you got Back to the Future.
I did not.
Oh.
I didn't get any level packs because I was like, I can't do that. Like I guess the most expensive one was Scooby-Doo, but then like all the other characters are like $10. Like Five Below has a bunch of like generic characters that nobody gives a shit about for like $5. But even still, like I easily spent over $100 playing that game, which is
Jeez
way
Louise.
too much. Yeah.
I think I've hit about $200-$300 in the Disney Infinity for the kids.
Oh yeah, I guess probably Disney Infinity too. I put a pretty fair.
How does that feel that they're discontinuing it then?
That's pretty shitty. It
actually,
sucks. For the
it
kids.
wasn't bad for me because when they discontinued it is when I bought it because everything went on clearance. So I was like, what? $5? Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
So all the Disney.
Yeah, Travis, I wish
you
would have said something. You know, over at the shop, we got we had a bunch of Disney Infinity characters, like a bunch, and we were selling them for like $5 a pop, or $2 a pop actually.
I think if my shelf has any more, it's just going to give. It's so packed with Disney Infinity characters and my huge like
the Disney
18-inch Star
Infinity
Wars
characters look very cool as far as like being a little
They do.
statue thing.
Yeah.
All the Star Wars characters look great, but even beyond the Star Wars characters, there's characters that look very cool. So,
Definitely.
but yeah,
I
fuck
think they're right
paying
up there,
for.
and sometimes I think they trump amiibos as far as design. I really do.
think they trump amiibos in usefulness.
Most definitely.
I still can't really figure out what you're supposed to do with the amiibos. Like every now, I guess you get like
Shelf candy.
it pretty much like they are almost useless. And that's another thing I haven't heard anybody talk about is will the Switch support any kind of amiibos? And I hope they do. But I feel like Nintendo has made
I think I read a quote that
money
Nintendo said they are supporting amiibos, and I think that was pretty much a given. I mean, it's a cash cow for them. They make money off of them.
They make tons of money. And they are cool. Like Rossetti. Like how fucking cool is that? If you would have told me like 10 years ago that I could have a little Rossetti figurine, I would have been like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody's going to make that. And yet, here it is. I have a little Rossetti action figure. So...
For me, also, been dabbling in a bunch of retro stuff. Real quick to get off of the everyone's been playing a lot of Turbo Graphics. Pretty much all that is undiscovered gems for me, except the original Splatterhouse. Been playing a lot of obviously Splatterhouse for the review. Thank you everyone for all the feedback on that on Twitter and everything. Really appreciate it. It's Halloween season. I've been trying to stick to more horror themed games. Some Doom 64. I had to play that, guys, after talking about it last week. Of course, I'm trying to beat The Last of Us when I get time to play it. Pretty much over halfway through the game. Really enjoying that. It's excellent. I got it on sale. I highly recommend you guys checking that out. What's going on as far as our news this week?
There's not a ton of... last week was a big week for news, and we're kind of running on time, so I just want to make this real quick. Not really news per se, but they announced yesterday, maybe it was the day before, I lose track of days, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 coming to PS4 as a collection. Again. So,
really?
Yeah. Which I've only ever played the first Kingdom Hearts, and I hated it. But that is something the little one would probably enjoy. So
that she definitely would.
What made you hate the first one?
Tarzan? Tarzan level.
Fucking Phil Collins, motherfucker.
I love Tarzan, the Disney movie. Actually, I do like some Disney movies, but
I'll be in your heart.
I like a lot of Disney movies, actually.
there's a lot of, for every good one though, there's like two bad ones. So, but Tarzan is one of the good ones.
Here's a question for both of you, because I haven't really played too much of it. I love the Winnie the Pooh world in the first one.
I don't think
That one.
I never made it there. That's after the Tarzan level.
Oh man, dude, Winnie the Pooh, like that just lit up my heart. Like I was like, oh man. And I think that's as far as I got. Like I think I just ended it there. Like I was like, yep, that's it. I played Winnie the Pooh.
Anything is better than the fucking Little Mermaid level with the dance sequence. That was the worst. I just, I don't know. I didn't really like the games either, so I'm on board, Adam, with that.
But
there's some charm to it though. Like I will say that.
I can see the charm in it for those that are into it. It's just not for me.
It's a child at heart thing, is what it comes down to. I feel like with those games when you're an adult, and thus the Winnie the Pooh world. Like I don't know, like I think I got even teary eyed when I was like, holy shit, I'm in the 100-acre wood.
Honestly, I think for me, it's all in the IP. If that would have been some Warner Brothers shit, dude, I would have been like totally on board. I would, because I love me some or some like Droopy era like Tex Avery cartoons, Hanna-Barbera, old school shit.
Oh,
I would have
What
been.
the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm just not a huge Disney guy. You know what I mean?
You'd take Hanna-Barbera over
Speaking
Disney?
of that, I'm going to come out of left field. Have any of you guys heard anything about Cuphead?
Yeah.
For the Xbox One?
Yep.
I have.
Yeah. Have you played it? Or is it out? Like that's the main reason why I got an Xbox One.
I was going to say, it's got to be getting close, but it's not. I don't think it's out yet.
I mean, dude, I really want to play that game so bad.
It looks like an awesome side-scrolling, what would you say, action platformer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, but it's all hand-drawn.
It looks excellent.
And it just, the trailers a few years ago blew my mind with that one. Like, just since we're talking about old cartoons, I really, really want to play that game.
But I did totally say that Hanna-Barbera trumps Disney. That's just personal preference.
What the fuck are you smoking?
Wow. Holy shit.
Just what I like. It's what I do. I'm shock value on this show. I shock Adam all the time.
Hanna-Barbera trumps Disney. I mean, that could be on headlines there.
You know, you're going to like this segue. Because I wanted
since you... Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
I wanted to...
Sorry to disappoint you guys. I mean, if you just want to end the show now, I understand.
Well, I wanted to talk about Bioshock, at least briefly. And what better way than to think about Walt Disney and Andrew Ryan being the same person. Every time I play that game, I can't help but think, like, Andrew Ryan may be philosophically modeled after Ayn Rand. However, his character model is fucking Walt Disney.
Yeah, I was trying to brush up on notes, and I was looking at images earlier of Andrew Ryan and thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you had this character that really wanted to create a Tomorrowland. I mean, that's what Disney World is. It was originally going to be called Tomorrowland. He wanted to make this city in Florida that it was completely controlled by Walt Disney, and
it's definitely no coincidence. I mean, they got everything to the pencil thin mustache, everything down to.
I think the mustache is really the kicker, and also that era of like suit that he wears. But that game, after playing it and the second one, but mainly the first one, after playing that the other day and getting through the whole thing, and I actually got to do something I haven't done in a long time. When I went through on Survivor, I just sat down on Saturday afternoon and just played the whole game on Survivor mode and beat it all by dinner time, which was awesome. I just crushed through that game. It was fantastic. But I got to play the whole thing uninterrupted, start to finish, within like a matter of like 7 or 8 hours. It's not a long game. From a shooting standpoint, that game doesn't hold up gameplay-wise, I don't think. It's got interesting mechanics, obviously, with the plasmids, but from an actual, to play it as a shooter, that game, I don't think has aged particularly well.
Flunky.
It's like triangle is to jump, and like that's such a weird button to put for jump, and like when you go look down the scope, it significantly like slows you down.
Skyrim has that same flaw, I think, where it's
that was exactly what I was thinking of though when you look down the scope. That really does kind of
it's rough, but from an actual like story and level design and other gameplay mechanics besides the actual like physical shooting mechanic, because let's face it, if you know what you're doing in that game, you set up your tonics correctly, you can basically just run around and beat the shit out of everybody with a wrench, which is
now you're talking
awesome.
about the remastered version though, which I mean, could you change your control scheme at all to maybe like match it to something that bettered your gameplay, or?
I don't know. I didn't even try. I was like, this is what it is. It is what it is. There's, which is...
It's how nature intended.
Yeah, like, this is how it was intended to play. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just like, yep, for some reason they thought that putting triangle as jump was a good idea instead of circle. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
A lot of games use that, though. For that time.
Not anymore. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, not anymore at all. Battlefield 1, one of the great things I love about Battlefield 1, you run up to a ledge, you hit X, you're jumping over it. You're vaulting over a fence when you hit X, because you're getting to a fence.
Like Gears?
I was going to say, they've been doing that since Gears.
And but the timing was just so well, like with that, I'm running through a battlefield, oh man, I'm at a fence. Like, you can hit X well before that, and the response, your character puts their hands out and jumps over it.
Gears 4.
Tannen,
have you played Gears 4 real quick?
No, I haven't. Unfortunately, I'm new to the Xbox One. Like, I just got it. So, as far as the Xbox One games go,
I think Gears was the first real series to take that over the ledge with X concept shit and run with it and made it what it pretty much does today in almost any shooter.
I'm fairly certain you can put a lot of the cover-based shooters genre. You can probably thank a lot to Gears for that.
I don't think Gears gets enough praise for how influential it really was. Or maybe it does.
Yeah, I was about to say, it definitely does. I know about it, and I've never even played it. So I would say
see? You get on me for never playing Fallout. You've never played Gears of War. So there you go. Touche.
Well, Gears is a console exclusive.
Yeah, and also like I'm even going to admit I only ever played the first Gears of War, the very first one.
I've played them all except the new one. I mean, they're decent. I'm not in love with the series, but they're good. Nothing wrong with it. But yeah, Bioshock. I only ever played the first one. So, Tannen, I know you said you love Infinite when we talked off air earlier. Adam, I think the first one is your favorite.
The first one is my favorite, but the second one was my least favorite. So I played through the first one, like I said, one sitting, just knocked it all out. Jumped into Bioshock 2, which originally when I played these games, there was like years apart from playing them. Playing them back to back gave me a better sense of like actually still being tied to Rapture. The fact that the multiplayer has been removed completely from the remaster means that I don't waste any of my time playing the multiplayer. So I get to focus solely on the single player experience. So I just jacked that difficulty up to the hardest difficulty and started running through it. They fixed a lot of the mechanics with the shooting. It actually plays a lot more like a shooter should. And if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, it's you aren't just like running around hitting everything with the drill, which is what the equivalent of the wrench. And the story is rather compelling. It's very clear that that game was not made by Irrational. There's enough differences there where you can be like, okay, somebody else made this game, took this idea and ran with it. There's a lot of other things that are like a little bit more over the top. Some of the splicers don't really feel as real as they did. Like these people were people once upon a time. You get that sense that these are all just people that have gone crazy when you play the first game. When you play the second one, it almost seems as if they're monsters of some sort. Like the spider splicers come off a lot more like monsters. But the story itself, the story holds up good. It's a good story. I kind of felt like with Bioshock 2, the 2K Mandarin or whoever made that one took a bunch of like scrapped ideas that they were going to use on the first game, and we're like, all right, let's make a game out of this, kind of B-real. And they ended up, it is a B-real Bioshock, but it's good. It holds up a lot better than I thought it would.
Bioshock DX.
Bioshock DX.
Suck it.
it.
Tannen.
Nice.
What's your 2 cents on the Bioshock series?
My 2 cents on the first one was definitely good, and when you first play it, it's kind of odd. You do get this odd feeling. I'd actually picked up the game shortly after I watched The Shining, which kind of seemed to match up in a weird way with me. I kind of felt like I was like in a world that was related to that. Oddly enough. You had these weird kind of 1920s-esque characters that, were going mad, and all that. Basically, Adam hit a lot of good points on the first one that I really don't need to talk about. The second one, I played it, and I talked about this with Adam the other day. It was sort of a disappointment to me when I had gotten into it. Purely on the fact that I don't know, like the storyline was good, but it didn't compel me like the first one did. I mean, the first one starts out, you're on an airplane, you're smoking a cigarette, you crash.
The first one had that huge twist that nobody really saw. Like nobody was expecting something.
Didn't see it coming. And once again, though, we talked about your moral choices in the first one, and I mean, you could kill the girls or you could let them live. And I actually, my first time going through, I didn't kill any of them. I just, would get rid of the big daddies, and then I would heal the girls. And really love the ending that I got.
But yeah, that's a good ending, and the ending is fucking awesome. The good ending is awesome. However, the whole meta statement and what I think launches that game from a competent shooter into a actual great game is not only the philosophical aspects of the game and of what was Andrew Ryan trying to do here. What is that correct? Like, would that be a world that you could live in? However, the overlying more, I suppose, meta understanding of the game is that the only choice that you have is to play the game or to not play the game.
Yeah.
And I think that points out, especially like we were just talking about with open world games, and you can do this and you can do that if you want to, and you can do whatever you want to do. You have all these choices. But realistically, at the end of the day, the game is the game. And the choices that you're making are inconsequential. And I think that Bioshock did that subtly enough, but in a very profound way. And the fact that, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Bioshock, but if you haven't played Bioshock, I don't even know why you're listening to this fucking podcast. So go fucking play Bioshock. For real.
Boom.
But the whole Andrew Ryan scene it's a cutscene. You don't even have the option to like not press a button. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's fantastic.
Well, then, okay, so then we get down to my favorite one in the series, though. Infinite was the one that actually blew me away. I'll never forget, like, watching the first trailer for that one, and that even blowing me away when I saw the first trailer. You had that song, "Thank God for the Beast of America," and, like, all this stuff, like, happening in it. It was just like, holy shit. And then you play it, and you actually get this character that you end up feeling, no matter what, charismatic about. You know, this is your mission is to save this girl. You know, well, you wake up on a boat.
Go
you
full
don't know
Bionic
why.
Commando in that game.
Yeah, but you wake up on a boat though. You don't know why. There's these two people just talking like bullshit, and you know it's just like, well, you know, he doesn't even know where the hell he is or who the hell he is. Let's just drop him off here at this island. You know, like, and you're at the lighthouse again, which is just like, holy shit. You know, like I'm back at the lighthouse. You know, like, and these two weird people just drop me the fuck off. You know, like. And then you end up in this, like, sky-related thing with this, like, over-accentuated, like, religious fanatic. That's the one that takes that over in the sky, you know, like, this dude that is just, like, pretty much a Jesus freak in a way.
No, and, I don't think it's that so much as it is uber nationalism. I think is the main driving force.
Yeah, well, it's both. There definitely is both there. I agree with you on the uber nationalism, but there's also like this like act of God behind it.
Yeah, but it's an act of God because of being God's chosen people, which would be due to America. That is also shares a lot of motifs in a lot of ways without spoiling anything. With the original
Bioshock.
Well,
I mean, it's just like, I mean, let's, like, I don't know, like, the ending, I mean, should I spoil it?
Nah,
you know,
Travis
like,
hasn't played it, and so we really should not spoil it.
Okay, Travis has not,
Yeah, don't you dare spoil it.
Yeah, because it is
don't you dare not play this game. Why are we even having this fucking conversation?
Hey.
Oh my god.
Hey.
Hey. No, seriously,
I play a lot of games.
Travis. Okay,
I'm playing a lot of games lately.
Your next game, your game assignment is to play.
I don't
Bioshock
do
Infinite.
assignments.
He doesn't.
Never
I've been trying to get him to
will.
finish The Last of Us for like a month now.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah,
Jesus
seriously.
Christ!
Both
It's
of
like
you
he
guys
hates-
realize I review multiple games a month, which
Stop.
requires
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, stop
Quit doing that.
stop
Go play The
doing
Last
that.
of Us.
Or you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? We're just going to start talking about it and spoiling the ending for you. You have 3 weeks
Ooh. Gauntlet
to
thrown
finish
down.
The Last of Us
No,
and
I say
Bioshock
let's
Infinite.
give him 2 weeks because seriously, it's been like a month already. That game's a 10-hour game.
Okay.
Travis, you got 2 weeks.
2 weeks to
and then we'll
finish
start spoiling.
Bioshock Infinite and The Last of Us. Both
No,
of them.
I don't even
I
think
can't
you've got
believe-
access to Bioshock Infinite.
How can you make it take that much time on The Last of Us? I mean,
Because I
dude,
play
like-
50 other games, Tannen.
The bigger kicker is
Oh my God.
how
When Adam
he-
plays, no, this is the difference between me and Adam. When Adam plays a game, admittedly documented on this show in the past episodes, he solely commits to that game. I don't. I'm all over the place. I play multiple games at a time. I always have.
Yeah.
And dude, I used
I do
to make that
multiple games,
mistake.
but I am equally committed all the time.
I used to make that mistake, but you know, one thing that I learned was you got to trudge through it no matter what. Karen and I beat Zombies Ate My Neighbors in a night, and there was
Back in my day,
bloodshed.
we didn't have
Good
shooters.
going.
We
There
just
were
played.
tears.
We played Zombies Ate My Neighbors in the snow all goddamn day. We didn't even have save points, checkpoints.
Well, yeah. You had the passwords, but no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work the way you want it to. No, you gotta learn how to get smart. You know, you'll know when you really work with someone if you can beat Zombies Ate My Neighbors with your partner. I tried to play that with another friend of mine. Didn't fucking work. Did not work at all.
The moral of the story is the Bioshock.
Yeah,
Infinite
finish the damn
is-
game.
is a
Just
fucking
finish the
good
damn game.
It's a great game. It shares a lot of the philosophical standings. However, instead of an Ayn Rand approach, it's definitely an uber nationalist approach. A lot of chalked up racism.
Well, now,
and what
yeah,
place
chalked up
would you
racism,
have
but
in that city?
Here's an example of why that game was so great. There was one day a couple years ago when I was still living between my parents' house because we didn't have a house yet after we moved back from Florida, and I hooked my PS3 up to my mom's TV because she just wanted to know what I was up to. So I was like, okay, like I think you want to watch me play this game for a little bit, and we got to the part where like you have they hand you like a baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a baseball, and you can throw it at the black guy. And I looked at Mom, and I was just like, "What do you want me to do?" And she was just like, "Don't do it." You know, like, I gave her that choice. You know, she was like, don't you do that. Don't you do that at all.
Well,
so I did it. She was like, but then she was like, oh my God, I got you caught. But I was just like, Mom, that was the right thing to do. You know, like, that was the right thing to do. But, like, you know, like, she was, you know, at the same time, she was just like, you know, are you on a covert mission? Like, are you so stuck in this that you're like a CIA agent and you have no choice? Or do you, like, do this? And she was just like, kind of, she cut her morals out. She was like, fuck it. Don't do that and throw the baseball at the asshole. And
we're
you know,
back. Guys, our game of the week this week. Did you guys happen to play Castlevania Bloodlines and Castlevania Circle of the Moon? Hannah, did you play either one of these?
Are you going to edit out that whole rant? Like, I was just saying about how great it was that my mom watched me play
for somebody that has not,
into it.
I'm with you because I know exactly what you're talking about. But for anybody else, they've got no fucking clue what you're talking about. Nobody does.
Tannen, did you play Bloodlines or Circle of the Moon this week for our game of the week?
They know you hooked up your PS3
no,
for
seriously,
your mom.
real quick. Did you happen to play? I'm trying to prove a point. Did you happen to play?
No. I played that fucking online.
So you didn't play. So I should run and play and beat Bioshock Infinite, Last of Us within the next 2 weeks. You can't even play a simple game or two for the game of the week for the sake of the show. Now, come on.
Come on.
Why would I even abide by any of your demands?
I took on a different one and paid a $20 subscription to play a fucking Castlevania game neither of you have played to talk about it.
That wasn't the game specifically chosen, so you went the wrong direction.
Yep. No shortcuts.
You took the high road.
Damn.
You didn't take the low road and bust out the free emulation. No, I'm just kidding.
The moral gray area.
Man, you really know how to hurt a man's feelings, don't you? Holy shit.
No, but for real, Travis, The Last of Us, the game is a fantastic game.
In all seriousness, if you want to finish your rant, go right ahead.
No, I was just saying that I even got my own mother. I even got my own mother into it. Like, I had her watch the intro of it. Bear in mind, she's a church organist, so, like, you know, like, when you wake up and you're going, they're singing Amazing Grace.
Why did you let him do
and things like that. And you know, like, so Mom got really into it and was just like, oh my God, like, A City in the Clouds, like, and this is such a beautiful looking game. And then, like, you know, you get to that more, she was shocked about, like, that scene. And then, like, that happened. And then she was just like, oh my God, like, what did I just do? And I was like, seriously, you did the right thing. You made the right choice. Like, my mom doesn't play video games. So, like, even for her to get into it, watching me play it, it's a good game. Like, she was really entertained by it. And
I think you're still.
At least I played the first one. You know.
You're missing
at least
the
I have
underlying
dabbled.
point, though, Tannen, is that no matter how that situation is handled, the outcome is the same. Which so the choice is an illusion. Yeah. No matter what you do with the baseball, it turns out the same way. It ends the same way.
I never actually.
It's the heads or tails thing. Game. When you get into the city and they give you the option to choose heads or tails, no matter what you do, it lands on heads. So, and then you see the chalkboard and you see all the times that he's got it marked heads, you know, even on the back, on his back. Mm-hmm. So the idea of choice being something, you know, that you have some kind of input through, you know, either gameplay mechanics or moralistic values that's going to have some kind of lasting effect on the overall arc of the game. It's all just an illusion, and I think that's what.
Tannen, I challenge you to beat Echo the Dolphin 1 and 2 in the next 2 weeks.
Nice.
That's my challenge.
Nice.
You know what? Years ago on Sega Channel, I beat Echo Jr. over at Joe Dwyer's house.
Who cares about Echo Jr.?
See,
nobody, but
nobody. I forgot all about that.
Echo the Dolphin does the same thing.
Sega Channel.
When you start up Echo the Dolphin, that also gives you the illusion, just like Bioshock, but when you push start, that it's going to be a decent game, and then it'll just turn to shit, because fuck those games.
Actually,
Adam loves those games.
We talked about like playing miscellaneous retro stuff this week. Echo the Dolphin, we played for about 5 minutes, like we always do. So it's got a great soundtrack. You got to give it to the soundtrack. The soundtrack is awesome.
It's very atmospheric, kind of creepy soundtrack, kind of like a Metroid would be.
Yes, actually, that's probably the closest reminiscent game to that. So, anyways, we are like
Yeah.
super fucking over on time. So
Yeah. And
hope
super
everybody's
fucking
happy
over
with
off
their
topic.
10-minute mom monologues, Tannen.
For an unformatted show, we've definitely gone all over the place.
I just wanted to bring up how a 50-year-old woman liked Bioshock Infinite. That's what I was bringing up. Is that the game is so great that I got a 50-year-old woman to watch it, and she was just like, "Oh my god, this game is like fucking awesome."
I backtracked a bit. I feel like you pulled out the velveteen glove and you slapped me in the face, and you were like calling me out on not playing Bioshock. I'm a busy man. I'm all over the place. I got to play this. I got to play that. So I felt obligated to cut off your story. But I gave the spotlight to you.
Man, you know what though? My story was supposed to be a selling point to you.
That was not a good selling point. That was.
No, I'm sure. No, I have played a little bit of Bioshock Infinite, like the beginning, way back, but I've never really, I know it's a good game. I just, priorities. Guys, you want to take a break before we get this top 3 and stuff out of the way? Game of the week.
Yeah, let's just take a break right now. Just 3, 2, 1, break.
Adam can catch his breath. He's literally choking to death over there. Hopefully he sticks around for the end of the show. We'll be right back on the Hard Name Podcast. More Adam and Tannen, more tenacious, outlandish behavior on the Hard Name Podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Mike here from the Slam Pigs Podcast, reminding you, as always, check us out on Twitter, @Slam Pigs Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, The Slam Pigs Podcast. Or, as always, check us out on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. Hibiki TMD is where it's at. Until we meet again, oink oink.
Back now. Travis,
Hope you remember the shake.
let me ask you, you ever seen Spartacus, the show?
The show? No, not the show.
No.
Neither one of you guys watched Spartacus? Yeah. Seriously? What the fuck? I thought that was gonna... Alright, well, whatever. Go watch Spartacus. But I guess since neither one of you guys have seen that, let's just talk about something else.
Yes.
I actually do have a Rise Son of Rome, though, for Xbox One.
Hey, fuck that. I'm talking about Spartacus, man.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet, so I can't give you a true review of it. It's just sitting there, like, waiting to be played.
Go watch Spartacus. So
well, speaking of Halloween, I did watch Return of the Living Dead this week. Classic movie.
Nice.
It's
a good one.
I
didn't like the sequels as much at all. As a banshee wails in the background.
Yeah.
Tannen lives in a haunted house.
I do.
So
it's Game of the Week time.
It is Game of the Week time. Before we get into Game of the Week, do you like the Megas? I'm sure you know who the Megas are.
I know what you're talking about. They are petitioning to do the theme entrance for the New Day at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. There's that. That was actually not what I was going to mention. But yet, if you dig the Megas, they are an awesome band. They've got a couple albums, all kind of based off of first 3 Mega Man games, which are really good. All those albums are really good. There's a new EP of theirs that just launched. That is Castlevania. So nice. Very cool. The 3 tracks, 3 short tracks. Not as much rock and roll in this as it is more synth music, but it's still pretty good. Or at least the first track is really good. The other 2 tracks, take them or leave them. Check it out.
Are these covers or these original tracks?
No, what they do is they'll take like the music from the game and then they will just
their own thing.
Yeah, they'll play it their own way and then they add lyrics to it and their lyrics tell a story. But no, so if you don't know who the Megas are, check them out. Go to their Bandcamp page, buy their music. They're fucking awesome. So
very cool.
Do that. But yeah, very cool Castlevania music for the season of the Spooktacular. So there's that, and then which brings me to the games of the week. This week we actually played different games, and it's been a little bit more than a week, but whatever. We played different games each. I got Castlevania Bloodlines, and you, my friend, got Castlevania Circle of the Moon.
I did, and I've been uploading each part on YouTube for you guys to check out along with me. Maybe I'll start doing that for each game of the week, put a little Let's Play up of it, like 30 minutes maybe. This one I went a little longer on, because it's,
This, I guess I'll go first here. I actually like Bloodlines a lot more than I thought I was going to. It's definitely not my favorite Castlevania game, but there is a lot of charm to that game. Um, the controller that I play it with has, a button set up like a PlayStation controller. So that's awesome. I feel like that game probably would have been a fucking pain in the ass to play with a Sega Genesis controller. Just because, like John Morris, how he can whip and swing on things. It's an interesting mechanic, but I've seen it's ultimately useless. That does not ever help you nor get you to hard to reach places or anything.
There's like one part in Bloodlines where you need it.
Okay.
To get over. Yeah.
I was going to say, because the other guy with the spear has a high jump that gets you everywhere. So
he just shoots right up.
Yeah. Plus, he's got mad reach with that spear. Like
Eric Lecard.
Yeah, he's easy mode for that game. He is like the easy mode option. So
he is OP as fuck. Yeah,
that game is very charming. It's very cool that you go back to, the very first level from Castlevania. That's the opening level. You go down the stairs and there's the mermen and they're all jumping at you, and you get all the way to where you see like the final fight with Dracula. Now I have not beat this game, so I do not know what where the final showdown is. Obviously these games didn't really carry too much of a story outside of the instruction booklet. So it's not a big story driven game. Mechanically, it is a fun game. I do like the option of being able to play as two players. That is a pretty cool concept that was kind of visited in Castlevania 3 and then not really visited again for a long time in that series. So it's kind of neat that Bloodlines did that. I also like the fact that when you're like kicking the shit out of like an axe armor, they literally fall apart as you beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. And then I guess beginning of the second stage, you have the sub boss that just makes it rain and like drowns you if you don't kill him fast enough. He doesn't ever physically attack you. So that's interesting, especially at a time where it's like, oh, hit the boss as many times as you can. Like that's every game. You hit, and dodge. And this one is actually like, well, he's not going to hit you, but if you don't hit him, you're going to die. Which turns it into a completely offensive fight. And I thought that's just a really interesting dynamic. But yeah, not a bad game at all. Like I said, not my favorite Castlevania game, but not bad. Not a bad game.
I'm very pleased to hear you say that. As I've notoriously mentioned time after time, it is my favorite Castlevania game. I get a lot of flack over that, but it is.
I can see how you could make an argument that would be better than Castlevania 4. Even though 4 for all its groundbreaking stuff, I think is slightly overrated.
At the end of the day, pretty much.
Yeah. So, the biggest, like I said, the whip mechanic where you have to whip to swing, that seems completely useless, and that's probably the biggest drawback. Like, why would anyone take their time out of their day to not be Lecard or whatever the hell his name is with the spear? Because that guy
it's like
is where it's at.
You saw what they were trying to do, and it just didn't really pan out. It was there, the attempt at the swinging. At the end of the day, I think Bloodline's biggest problem is it was on the Sega Genesis.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, let's be honest. You
Absolutely.
cannot compare a Genesis-controlled game for the most part to an SNES, unless you're talking about maybe Sonic. But, I mean, come on. As much as I love Bloodlines, I fully admit its faults. It does feel slippery at times. As far as the music, it's excellent. Some of my favorite music on the Genesis. This is my favorite game on the Sega Genesis. One of the best games on the Genesis. You can't go wrong with Bloodlines. If you're into old school, very linear Castlevania, it's definitely a must play in my opinion.
Yeah, as far as the actual linear Castlevanias go, I don't know. I would say Rondo of Blood is it's pretty good. I don't know if Bloodlines is an actual contender. I think Rondo of Blood might be the best level designed platformer. But
see, that one's tricky because I haven't got my hands on that because that was on the PC Engine CD. I played Dracula X on the SNES.
Yeah, Dracula X was like a really weird, watered down version of that game. But they had the straight Rondo of Blood port years ago when they released the Dracula X Chronicles. for the PSP, and you could
Oh,
play it
okay.
there.
I thought it was on the Wii Virtual Console too.
It might
was pretty sure.
also be on. I've never played it there, but that's a solid game. So, and you actually play as a Belmont, which I feel like that should get immediate bonus points, because they don't do enough with like making that relevant.
The Belmont that looks like Ryu
Yeah.
with the headband and all. Tannen, have you played a lot of Bloodlines?
I'm sorry. While you guys were talking, I decided I was going to go ahead and get on and play the Castlevania game that I was talking about earlier, which is Harmony of Despair. And also, as I'm playing it, get really mad because I have no real friends to play it with. Harmony. Sorry. What was the one that you asked me
Castlevania
about
Bloodlines, the Sega Genesis. Have you spent a lot of time with that game over the years?
Bloodlines. No, I haven't. When it comes down to Castlevania, you're going to hear me talk about a lot of the NES titles, and then the SNES title, Castlevania 4, which I definitely owned at one point. I think I do have Castlevania 4 somewhere lying around in this huge library of boxed up stuff. But as far as
the one you've been spending the most time with, let's hear it. Your take on the online Castlevania.
Okay, Castlevania Harmony of Despair. What an excellent game. I mean, you have about 8 characters to choose from, all of them having their own talents. You're not stuck with a whip. You can go back and be a Belmont, and guess what? You have a whip. But also you have throwing daggers. That is a great option to have. But when you play it by yourself, you can only get so far. They have rooms where another player should be standing with you on, just these different weight things to outbalance the weight of the other player to get you up to a higher level.
It's kind of like Castlevania Four Swords.
Yeah, pretty much, in a way. But if you played online with strangers, welcome to Asshole Land, because
Assholevania.
I guess definitely it's Assholevania all of a sudden. Everybody only cares about themselves. It's like playing Left 4 Dead with people that don't want to cooperate.
Hey, speaking of that, that leads us right into our Gary Sucks segment.
Let's hear it.
People who do not cooperate, and Assholevania. Just throwing that out there. Okay.
Wow.
Back to
So
you.
Gary lives in Assholevania? Is that what that's
Gary
going on?
almost got off. He almost got off easy this week. We almost forgot the Gary Sucks segment.
No,
so
I
tip of the
didn't,
hat
because there's actually, you know what? I found out there's another person out there, just like Gary, but his name is Albert.
Albert.
Oh,
So
man.
it turns out there's
There's
Gary
an Albert?
everywhere.
Wow, but his name is Albert.
This guy's name is Albert, yeah.
Man, every Albert I've ever met has been so awesome, and this is so disappointing to me.
You know who wasn't awesome? Prince Albert.
He was hairy as shit, and he had piercings, and he was fat.
Yeah.
And he was in a can.
No, he wasn't.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never was.
The Harmony of Despair, definitely a must-play, Tan, in your opinion.
It is
If you
if
have
friends that you can
competent
play it
partners.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have competent
It's
partners.
definitely a must play if you have competent partners. This game is fun as shit. It starts out fun as shit when you're on your own, but then you get to this room, this fucking room or level where it's just like, I can't do anything, and I have to accept that I need to have somebody else here. So you invite somebody else to your realm, and they're just a dick. Like,
And it's
instantly,
split-screen
like
co-op, right?
Yeah, it's split-screen co-op. Well, the thing is, it's so huge that you can zoom out.
Yeah, you can
see
zoom
the
out at
entire
any time.
map
Yeah.
and see what everybody else is doing to try
Very
to cooperate with them. And if everybody's communicating, it's great. But if you're just playing with, I'm sorry, man, it almost sounds like I'm playing with lilies. And you just like kids. It's kids. They put their kids on this. Adults
Well, no,
put
that's
their
what I
kids
mean,
on
like,
this game.
Split screen, like couch co-op.
No, I
Does
wish.
not have that, right?
I haven't tested that one out,
It's on
actually.
the DS. So that would have to be, yeah.
No, it's not on the DS.
Oh, yeah, so I thought it was on
No,
the DS.
it's on,
No, it's
no, it's
PS3.
on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
And, no,
I
it's
get
all
there's
online.
so many, like, I get confused sometimes with those releases.
Well,
I haven't
that
played a
is
lot.
Harmony of
the point-
Despair. There's also a Harmony of Dissonance.
That's GBA, but
Yeah.
I confused this with the DS title. I thought
Right,
there was a
you know
DS one where it was online too.
This game is a harmony of despair because you end up getting, you're either playing with like a bunch of asshole kids or just a bunch of assholes. And nobody wants to work together. Nobody wants to actually sit down and collectively like go at this game together. And that is its downfall. Like they made a game where people can play Castlevania together. And what they didn't realize is that the general public sucks when it comes to communicating. And always, I've even been in rooms where there's this voice of reason. There's a voice of reason along with mine, and it doesn't work. Still doesn't work.
Come on, guys, that guy.
Yeah, well, then there's two come on guys. Like, dude, guys, let's just... And you try to
Yeah.
partner up with that person, but then, like, it's like, shit, this particular situation requires 3 people, and it said this person got to us through our help, and now they just want to be a douche.
Well, hopefully a time
And-
comes to pass where you get competent partners. So best of luck with that. And I hope you can experience the game how it's meant to be with, people that know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, that's why I want you guys to fucking get the game, goddammit. I think the 3 of us could rule
Awful
this.
demanding this week, Tannen. Awful demanding.
I'm just saying, man. Like, come on, play with me online.
would love
Another
to.
game. Remember, last week I talked about a game. I couldn't remember what it was, and I was like, dude, it's monsters fighting. It's like Street Fighter.
Was it in fact Rampage?
No, it's Darkstalkers.
Called it. Rampage.
Oh, that's a 2D fighter. That's got Felicia from Marvel vs. Capcom. Darkstalker
Uh-huh.
series is badass.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Well, I just
shame on
finally
you.
discovered it and have fallen in love with it.
Wait a minute, that's a fighting game. You weren't describing a fighting game.
Yeah, I was. I said it was like 2 people versus each other. I don't know. Maybe I didn't describe
That could mean so many things.
No fucking clue. Anyways,
Yeah,
so
Darkstalkers was like my monster pick.
Wait,
there.
you've never played
Like,
Darkstalkers, Tannen? I'm giving you 2 weeks to beat the game.
2 weeks.
That's
Okay.
bullshit.
You got 2 weeks to fucking beat Bioshock Infinite. Then that's your assignment. 2 weeks
Well,
is
one
more than
thing at a
enough time.
time.
to
One
beat
thing at a
Bioshock
time. We got to get
Infinite.
him to finish Last of Us. Then he can tackle Bioshock.
I'm literally right at the end of The Last of Us, so that's easy peasy.
Yeah, that's just, dude. You have like an hour to beat Last of Us.
Probably.
And you're not going to be as emotionally driven as what we were, because we were there, man. We were there.
Yeah, I can't believe it's taken you this long, for real. Like that's like watching one episode of television over the course of like 2 weeks. It's not gonna make any sense by the time you get to the end.
No,
You
it's
binge
definitely
watch
making
that
sense.
shit.
I'm a complicated guy, man. Like I said, it's a piss posh of games I play all the time, but I can keep up. I'm good enough.
Well, apparently you don't
Man, what's
understand
another
World
game,
War One,
like-
so I don't know. I don't even know what the
Since
movie
we
is
were
anymore.
since we were talking about the PS Now, so I tried to play Way of the Samurai 3. That was another game that I like kind of got into.
Can I talk about my Castlevania game of the week though?
Sure, but
Well, never mind.
Way of the,
See, now you made me feel bad on my own show, so go ahead, talk about
No,
Samurai.
we are way
Destiny.
over on time. Way over.
we were way over time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I Way of the Samurai, Way of the Suck.
It's
Don't
no
like those
Ghost
games.
Dog. Fucking Ghost Dog was the shit. That was a good
Ghost
movie.
Dog was a movie. It was
I know.
awesome.
It was
Yeah,
a good movie.
All them pigeons.
Castlevania Circle of the Moon. I haven't played it in years. From what I remember, I didn't like it that much back then. It's probably because I played Aria of Sorrow before I played this. This was the first one
Aria
released on the
Star is
GBA
the
app.
best one out of the 3. The GBA 3.
Exactly. Pleasantly surprised, kind of like you with Bloodlines. Both of us pleasantly surprised this week.
I
have been enjoying
I
it.
watched your Let's Play. You do not have very many cards, which is they all drop randomly, like from different.
Yeah, they
engines.
do.
So that is all like.
I just picked up
total luck.
like a Jupiter and a Mars today within like 10 minutes, and then I'll go like 2 playthroughs and not see one forever.
Yeah.
It's very random, very sporadic. Yeah, I mean it's Castlevania, like Symphony of the Night style, like everyone on the fucking GBA. So they're all pretty good. I'm not going to hate on the game. The hit detection is a little spotty at times, but it was a portable game.
I was going to say it's a
Can't
GBA game. That's
can't hate on it for
almost
that
to
too
be-
much.
That's actually one reason why I think Aria Sorrow shined so much is because even though that was a GBA game, that did not play like the other two. That played like a console 2D.
It was very
game.
tight.
Yeah,
it was the
really
most tight on the GBA, without a doubt.
But I thought Harmony of Dissonance had the same drawbacks that Circle of the Moon did as far as hit mechanics and stuff like that.
I will say it definitely, because it's a portable game, it feels like a Rush Symphony of the Night as far as learning abilities, finding shit, all your variations. It seems like a more rushed version, but it's still pretty deep.
Rushed. I would say like trimmed up, like a very streamlined version.
Condensed,
Yeah,
maybe is the word.
If you look at like your item screens, like when your equipment screens, it's like everything is either up from what you're currently wearing, or everything is down from what you're currently wearing. Like, it's not like this is, giving me better strength, but the other, it's taking away my defense. Like, there's not a whole lot of choices like that as far as the equipment goes. It seems like you're just constantly upgrading your equipment without having to make any kind of hard decisions about it. But
I will say it has made me play it way longer than I thought it would, and I'm probably going to see it all the way to the end.
It's not a long game.
Along with The Last of Us. I know.
It's not a long game. Last time I played that, I think I beat it in like a weekend, just playing on and off.
Yeah,
it's a good game.
Last of Us should really take you. Last of Us should take you about a day.
I think it's going to be an ongoing joke now, be The Last of Us.
Oh my god, that game's so fucking good. That game is.
It is.
It is,
good.
but it is really short at the same time. But Jesus Christ.
Well, I know.
Jesus Christ, what?
Glad you like it. So, we're way over on time. We have a top 3 skeletons that unfortunately Tannen was not a part of. What should we just edit that top 3 skeletons in? That was a nice, concise list. We're not gonna do a separate Halloween episode. You want to just edit that in, and then wrap this up? Do you have that file still? Because I do not.
I do.
Okay. If you got it, then sorry, Tannen, you're not part of the top 3 this week.
Monsters.
Top 3 skeletons. All right, you want to go first?
Skeleton monsters?
Nope, just skeletons.
We can totally do monsters. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me. Scary monsters or skeletons?
Scary monsters.
Scary monsters.
Skeletons. Scary monsters with skeletons.
All right, let's just do skeletons. Let's do skeletons.
Let's pick something.
I'm ready for skeletons. Let's go.
Top 3 skeletons in the history of video games. Right away, Adam. I'm coming from the Super Nintendo. I'm coming with those Skull Knight guys from The Legend of Zelda.
Oh man.
Link to the Past.
Way to go. That's a good one. However,
with the little flying heads that pissed you off.
Yep, those guys suck. My number 3 is also from The Legend of Zelda, and it's also a skeleton. So, that's what I say to you. Puh. I spit on your number 3. My number 3 is the best skeleton in the Legend of Zelda series, and that would be the skeleton of the hero of time from Twilight Princess. The one who teaches you how to do sick moves with your swords. You remember that part?
Nice drop.
Because that's Link from Ocarina, all grown up, turned into skeleton, came back from the dead to teach the new Link how to do some sword shit. That's pretty cool.
It's been a long time since I played Twilight Princess. I might go back eventually and play it again.
They just re-released that on the Wii U not too long ago.
Yeah.
And PSA, Wind Waker is down to $20 now on the Wii U.
And that version of Wind Waker is phenomenal.
It looks really good. The only reason I haven't picked it up yet is because I'm like, man, I do not know if I'm ready to get down in the Wind Waker again. That's a big game. I don't know if I'm ready for that. That's a fun game, though.
Yep. And it got a bad rap when it first dropped. Everybody shit on it. Then they did. Well, we've mentioned this before, time and time again, about Wind Waker.
Hipsters.
My number 2, Adam. Here it comes. Another baseline fucking video game franchise. Dry Bones from Super Mario Brothers.
Nice. can't believe I forgot Dry Bones. I did
Those
not.
guys will come back.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, Dry Bones. That's a good solid thing. I like to play as Dry Bones in like Mario Kart or Mario Party, where in versions that you can play anything that you can play as Dry Bones. I always pick Dry Bones.
Dry Bones Bowser is cool too in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah,
He looks pretty cool.
Mario Kart 8's awesome.
Honorable mention. It really is. My
Honorable
favorite
mention.
Mario Kart is Mario Kart 8. I'm not afraid to admit it. I just got to tell you,
Double
that's
Dash is
controversial.
still
I
better.
don't
Yeah,
care.
Double Dash is still better.
Double
Mario
Dash is good. I wish that gimmick would come back. But anyway, that's another time.
So, where am I at? My number two skeleton, and I'm doing this for you. My number
How
two
about
skeleton, Castlevania 64, skeleton on the motorcycle.
Oh my god! Oh man.
You knew it was coming. That game's not as bad as you want to pretend it is,
Yeah.
even though it's got skeletons on motorcycles. So, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. You're in a village in the, I don't know, 1830s or something, and there's a skeleton riding around on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So somebody just had a really lazy day at work. They were like, "Fucking, I gotta design monsters for this 3D Castlevania game, and I've got no clue what I'm gonna do." And his friend was like, "Let's go get drunk," and he's like, "I can't. I gotta work." He's like, "Let's go get drunk. Why don't you just put that skeleton on a motorcycle, and we can go to the bar?" And that's what they did.
It was like some leftover fucking Polygon sprite from
Like
another game. They didn't
something
think.
other game. Yeah, so it's just.
He was really proud of the design of the bike, and he really wanted someone to see it someday, and he wanted to slip it in.
There's also what I was going to pick before you brought up the skeleton on the motorcycle was the giant fucking skeleton from Castlevania 64, like right there in the very beginning of the game, because it's just a giant skeleton, and you think, what was this thing? Was this a giant, and now it's a skeleton? Or, this doesn't make any sense. This is not a normal size skeleton. It's obviously much too large to be a normal human being. So, that is my number 2. What's your number 1?
Man, I used to love these games. Honorable mention real quick to one of my favorite Mega Man bosses, Skull Man. I really debated about putting him on here. Underrated stage music. Mega Man 4, I'm not a big... I don't hate Mega Man 4. It's not as bad as 5. I think 5 started to jump the shark a little bit with design and some difficulty issues. But, Skullman was just legit as fuck. My number 1 game, and I love this series, from Medieval, however you want to say it. Those games were fun as shit.
I've never played those games, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone call it Medieval before.
Well, I'm a different guy.
And that's why I could never do this show without you. Because you're a different guy. No, I've never played any of those games, so I've got no clue.
They were on the PS1. They don't hold up as well as I would like, but I mean, at the time, man, I loved them. I thought they were fluent. I thought they were very easy on the eyes to look at, and just the badass design of the character for me. He was cool. He had one eye, for Christ's sakes. The fact that a skeleton had any eyes alone is something to say, but still, I love the medieval games. I think there were 2. I don't know if there were 3. I don't know if it made its way to the PS2.
I think it did, but I don't know. I couldn't.
I don't see why it wouldn't have.
Was that your number 1, or is that just
Actually,
an honorable mention?
I looked it up real quick. It made its way to PSP. Medieval. I'm going to say medieval every fucking time. Medieval Resurrection. So, I don't know if you're still rocking your PSP, Adam. Check out Medieval. It's cheap, I guess.
I'm not
And
gonna
ask for it in a store as Medieval. You have to at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it's got to happen that way. I'm just going to ask Google to look it up on eBay for me.
So, guys, let's dive right in to Adam's number 1.
Wait,
what?
So was that your number 1?
That was my number 1.
Oh, okay. You said honorable mention. I want to talk about Medieval.
Oh, honorable mention to Skullman from Mega Man.
Oh, okay. All right, good deal. Now everything's good. So, honorable mention, the skeleton from Killer Instinct. Remember him? What's his name?
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
Fuck.
I used to pick him.
I almost said Fulgore, but that's not it. I don't know why I said that.
Was it Fulgore the wolf?
Wasn't huge into Killer Instinct. Yeah, he was the wolf.
Yeah. So, yeah, Killer Instinct was awesome, man. That was a good game. I was not ever good at Killer Instinct, but that was a game where you could watch other people play it at the arcade and be like, you got owned.
Spinal. His name was Spinal.
Yeah, it was Spinal. So, it's Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap's a phenomenal movie.
Spinal Tap is a phenomenal movie. So, anyways, yeah, shout out to that guy. My number one skeleton, and this is honestly the whole reason I thought of skeletons in the first place for his top three, is Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts. When he dies, he becomes a skeleton.
Nice.
And I think it's awful, but it's comical. You could also throw in maybe Dragon's Lair into this as well. The same concept. He dies in some pretty gruesome ways in Dragon's Lair, where he turns into a skeleton. But Arthur always dies. He always loses his armor, then he's naked, and then he turns into a skeleton. No matter what hits you. Like a bird flies into you, and your skin just melts away, and you turn into a skeleton, a pile of bones. And then it's game over. And the skeleton, turning into the skeleton as you're dying, is like the ampersand on your cruel death.
I thought it was hilarious. Good, very good pick out of left field.
I was playing that just the other day.
I keep hearing the sound effect from Super Ghouls and Ghosts when you die and you turn into bones.
There's also when you get turned into the old man. I know that's totally off topic at this point, but the old man or the baby, that's always really funny too. So that's my number one skeleton. I feel like that's the most memorable skeleton. But I also want to shout out to all red skeletons from all Castlevania games. I think they at least deserve to get mentioned. Since we talked about Castlevania, then we talked about skeletons, and neither one of us picked red skeleton.
If you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough, and those red skeletons were tough.
Yep, but they don't ever die. I don't think there's any Castlevania game where you can actually kill the red skeleton.
Shout out to the skeleton guys in Shovel Knight. You can like hit golf club their heads and.
Shout out to Shovel Knight. The game's awesome.
Always shout out Shovel Knight. Find a way to one way or another. I've been playing the Plague of Shadows DLC, trying to beat it finally.
Nice. Does it play totally different?
Yeah, because you control Plague Knight. It's not as. It's interesting. It's not as fun as being Shovel Knight, obviously. But it's good.
And so there you have it.
And it's free. 3. No excuse, guys. It's fucking free.
No excuse. Make an excuse and watch what Travis tells you.
Make an excuse. Watch Spinal Tap while you're playing Killer Instinct on mute while picking Spinal.
Doing spin.
Yep. And then doing the sound effect with his mouth from the death screen in Ghouls and Ghosts.
Did we forget any skeletons?
I'm sure we did. I was going to say one thing. That turned out way better than I thought it was going to.
So, I know we are definitely. You got dry bones. So say we're missing something iconic, and I cannot think of what it possibly is.
We're gonna kick ourselves in the nuts.
Yep, this is gonna be one of those ones where we record this, and then like in the middle of the week next week, I'm gonna think of it. Be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I can't believe I put Motorcycle Skeleton in front of this guy.
I can't believe you wasted your fucking pick with Castlevania 64.
Oh my god, Castlevania 64.
I can't believe you wasted that period of your life to even play through that. Did you beat that game?
You know how many times I've beaten that game? I've beaten that game like half a dozen times, easily.
So what's the fucking deal in like the AVGN video then? Like, is that just a glitch he was experiencing where he got stuck with that? He couldn't carry the bomb, it kept blowing up. No matter, like, what do you have to do with that fucking bomb that blows up or whatever it was? Like, you gotta be so sensitive.
What is it that the kids say these days? Get good? That's
really?
What you gotta do, yeah. Get good.
So, like, I've never heard anyone that really got through that, so what the fuck do you do there?
Just walk.
Walk?
Yeah, the bomb's sensitive, but it's not impossible to do that. I remember seeing that video and I think that was played up for comedic things. The same way like landing the plane in Top Gun is.
The Top Gun thing is definitely way overblown. It's not hard.
Yeah. So and
Just
that's the Castlevania thing. But anyways, what's interesting about that game is there's a merchant in that game that sells you stuff throughout the game, like things that you might need, like hearts or whatever, life and cards and things like that. And obviously, naturally, you want to buy things from this guy, but it is the only way to get the good ending in the game. You have to not buy anything at all from him. So, if you buy something, you pretty much fuck your entire playthrough up. You have to play through the whole thing again if you want a shot at seeing the decent ending.
Sorry, I was totally zoning out when you were talking about fucking Castlevania 64. I came up with a good one, though. A good skeleton. I was trying to dig one up from Super Contra. That skeleton guy. You gotta climb on the wall and he shoots flames out of his mouth.
Not nearly as memorable as any. That's definitely not an iconic skeleton.
I'm digging, though. I'm digging deep. La Parka from WCW Revenge counts as a skeleton.
Nice, there you go. We'll count him as a skeleton. Guys. No, I think we got the iconic ones. So
sounds good. Well done, sir.
Yeah, that's got to be it. I know there's probably one more, at least one, that I'm missing.
For Tanner, for Adam, I'm Travis. I'm Adam, I'm Travis. Who am I? I'm Travis. On the Hard to Name podcast. Check it out next week, guys. Later. Gator.